Hi, and welcome to Studio SN. My name is Sara Naumann, and today we're going to do painting with chalk ink. You can use your pigment ink pads to paint in your stamped images, and it's a great way to put your ink pads to use for another purpose and to create custom card focals. You can see on the front of my card here, this pretty stamped image has been colored with a couple of different colors of pigment ink pads. Her dress, as well as her band, and her hair, and even this butterfly have all been colored. And I think if I'm moving this a little bit, you can see right on here, there's a lot of color and shine on here. And if you could touch it, you'd feel the texture. This is due to some glossy accents as well as some very fine glitter that I've applied on there as well. So a couple of different techniques. I love that this card is so clean and simple and yet really has quite a lot going on. All of the techniques are, of course, really easy to do. So let's get started with our stamped image, and I'm just going to bring in a piece of standard weight cardstock and my stamp. And so I've got my clear stamp mounted up onto a clear block. The stamps that I'm working with are from Hot Off the Press, and it's their paper doll set. So I'm going to use this large figure here. You can see you get a couple of figures as well as some wings and some sentiments on there as well. So I've got my stamp up on my block, and I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss her on this piece of cardstock. So I'll need to have an embossing ink pad, and this is the watermark ink pad. Whatever type of embossing ink or watermark ink you happen to have on hand, I'm using the Versamark. And then I'm also using, and this is from Wow, it's their Primary Ebony Superfine, and this is what I usually use for detail embossed images. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and ink up my stamp using the embossing ink, and I'm taking the ink pad to the stamp rather than the other way around, and then simply turn this over and stamp onto the white cardstock. Now I know you can't see anything when I pull this off, but when I put the embossing powder on you will. And let me get a piece of just scrap cardstock here to catch the excess of the embossing powder, and then I just need to sprinkle this on and tap off the excess. Nothing goes to waste because I can just funnel this back into the jar. Now you'll notice on here that I've got some extra little bits of embossing powder. I can kind of tap that off. And another thing I can do is come in with a really fine tip dry paintbrush. And I like to use this especially in really detailed stamps where even just one little bit of stray embossing powder will kind of mar the image. And just come in here and brush that away like so. And then of course this will just come right off too. So then what I need to do is just go ahead and heat set this image, and then I can funnel the rest of my embossing powder back into the jar too. Now when I have that all embossed, it is going to look like this. So this way you can see it's got the shine and the dimension on here, and it's all ready to color. So what I'm going to do is use my craft sheet as my palette and get my pigment ink pads. So I'm working with 3 from Clearsnap, and I've got the Cupid, I've got the Spiced Plum, and then I have Bark. Bark is going to be her hair, and then her dress is going to be colored with these 2. So all I need to do is simply take my ink pad and squash it onto the craft sheet. Like so. So I'm just going to go ahead and get all of my colors on here. And let's get the bark. You don't need very much of that. These are nice juicy ink pads. So you can see I've got a lot of color on here. Then I'm going to take a little bit of water and spritz in all 3 of those. You don't need to flood it, but of course the more water you use, the paler your color will be. So I'm going to start with the Cupid, which is that lightest pink. And I'm using a flat brush, and this is a brush that I got for free with a crafting magazine one time. So it does not have to be the finest artist quality paintbrush. It just needs to be a brush that's easy for you to use and that's comfortable and that works. I'm using a larger paintbrush for this because I'm just going to get the color down here on the biggest portion of the stamped image, which is her skirt. So I'm just going to get as much color down as I can in one go. Like so. And then what I'll do is come in with a finer tip brush. This is actually a water brush that doesn't have any water in the barrel, and I love the tip of this brush. So I'm going to use this maybe add a little bit more water in here and then pick up some more color and come in along the edges as well as around some of the detailed areas where that flat brush really couldn't get, like around her hand and in along the edges. It's kind of like watercolor painting because you can add layers of color and blend, and it's a really, really forgiving application. It's just also a nice way to use your ink pads for something other than stamping, and you can get some really nice color in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of her skirt on here and also the bodice as well. And then I'm going to use the same brush. I'm not going to clean it off. I'm just going to go ahead and pick up some more of the spiced plum. And so this is a slightly darker, more purple color. I'm going to come in and use this to color the waistband of her dress and the belt. And I'm also going to use a shade of this that's not quite as diluted. It's not quite as watery, to come in and highlight the folds of her dress. So I'm really taking this along one side and across on these folds, the embossed folds. And the nice thing is, because it's been heat embossed, you don't have to worry about that black ink bleeding or smearing. And of course, it's going to guide your brush right along there. So you can see the difference between this area that does not have that extra bit of spiced plum and the rest that does. So I'm going to come back in and add this as well. Now I can see I've got a little blob on here that I want to sort of smooth out. So I'm going to take a baby wipe and just clean off some of the darker color in here, and then just come back in and add a little bit more of the Cupid. So you can fix anything that you might think is a mistake, but because it's a dress, there's going to be some folds and some movement to it as well. So that's a lot of fun to play with. Now again, I'm just going to dab off that brush tip and come back in with some bark and color in her hair. And bark is a really, really nice dark brown, works great for hair. And come back in like so. You can make her hair whatever color you want. You can make her dress whatever color you want. I like this stamp because it really is awfully versatile. So that's a nice one. And just going across here and coloring in the rest of her hair. And again, the embossing is going to hold in and guide my brush like so. And then of course I can add darker color to her hair as well. I can add some highlights around in here if I want to. And then just clean off my brush like so, and clean off my palette. And then I've got my painted image on here, and I could leave this like it is because it looks really nice, but I want to add something a little bit extra, and that's going to be glossy accents as well as some fine clear glitter. So what I'll do here, probably you've worked with glossy accents before, it's a clear dimensional medium, and it comes with this nice little tip on here. So all you need to do is just squeeze gently, and the liquid will come out. It's quite thick, so it's not going to come out in a big glob. You don't need to worry about that. And I'm just going to come along here, along some of the folds in her dress, and add some of that glossy accent, and then do her waistband. So I'm kind of squeezing and then scribbling with the tip of this. And then maybe, why not? We'll give her a fancy swoop in her hair. So once I have the glossy accents on there, then I'll bring in my fine glitter and just sprinkle this on top. You don't need a whole lot. Now the glitter, kind of like embossing powder, you're just going to sprinkle it on and then get another piece of scrap paper and sort of tap off any excess. And then you just need to let this dry. So the glitter will stick in the areas where the glossy accents will kind of hold it on there. So you just need to go ahead and let this dry. And then you have your really pretty stamped focal image on here. So let me bring back in my original card and show you this now that it's all dry. If you were able to touch it, you would feel that that is a little bit of texture and dimension on there as well. So I added the stamped sentiment as well as the butterfly up here, and it makes for a very simple and easy card. Simply mat it onto black and then a nice contrast with the blue of that cardstock. So this is how you can paint with pigment ink. I hope you enjoyed today's show. For more ideas and inspiration, please stop by my website at saranaumann.com. Thank you for joining me on Studio SN, and I will see you again next time.